Hello everyone and welcome to 2021. This is Mary Gregory with MAS Coding Solutions. It is a new year, people. Oh my gosh. We did make it through 2020. And guess what? We're going to make it through 2021 as well. I just want all of us to be encouraged for 2021. I want you all to set your goals for 2021. And you know what? I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to me too. We can let 2020 kind of get us down and make it feel like the world like it's hopeless, but it's not. We're going to set our goals and we're going to continue to live. We're going to life. Isn't that the new expression, life in it? So we're going to life. And for you all that have not gotten your certification this year, I encourage you to get your certification. It can be a CPC certification, it can be a CCS certification, it can be a CCSP certification, or maybe some of you already have those certifications and now you want to get an additional certification. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I always caution people, sometimes we go certification crazy, and all these certifications going to cost you some money. Number one, it's cost to get the certification. Number two, it costs to keep the certification. So, if you're going to get an additional certification, really think about what it is you want to do. But some people just love to get certification. So this year, set your goal. If you're not certified, set a goal to get certified. If you have stumbled upon this video looking for a new career, I certainly encourage you to look into medical coding. There's a lot of opportunities in medical coding. We don't know where this industry is going. It's so many changes taking place. But let's get on board the ship and let's ride this ship. Let's ride these waves until coding is being done by AI. But currently, we need human bodies. Currently, we need warm bodies to help with coding. And I purchased the book in 2020, and I just started reading it in 2021. It's called Atomic Habits. And it's talking about starting just one. You can start out with just changing one bad habit into a good habit, or maybe developing one new habit. And it doesn't have to be anything big. In the book, the author is telling us, look, start with a small change and create a new habit with that small change. And he was saying you'll be surprised at the difference in your life. So I encourage you to develop a good habit, work on changing a bad habit. And like I said, I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me too. This year, I want you to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Maybe you're an inpatient coder and you want to become a CDI specialist. Step out of that comfort zone. Maybe you're an outpatient coder and you want to become an inpatient coder. Step out of the comfort zone. Try. And sometimes we don't do things because we are so afraid of failure. And I had this quote, they attributed to Winston Churchill. And the quote says, failure is never fatal. Failure is never fatal. And the other part was, success is never ending. And maybe that's why when we read about successful people, we see successful people, it just seems like they're always doing something. They're always going from one success to another success. People, that's because they work at it. Sometimes I think in America, we see all these success stories. And see, what we see is the end product. We don't see what it took for them to get where they are. See, some people may say, well, you're a great coder, you're an expert coder. That didn't happen to me overnight. I spent years coding. See, And sometimes we want the end results without putting the work in. If you're going to be a great coder, you're going to have to put the work in. You're going to have to empower yourself through education. And it's not always going to be free education. You're going to have to learn to spend some money on yourself. You're worth it. You are worth it. So I just want to welcome you all to 2021 and realize that this is a new year. Change is in the air. Good change. What we focus our mind on, that's what's going to happen to us. If you focus on bad going to happen to you. You focus on good going to happen to you. So that's it for this year. I look forward to mentoring you, continuing to mentor you through these YouTube videos. We are going to have a Facebook group. It's going to call Be the Buzz. We're going to actually launch that Facebook group in February. We're going to official launch on February the 10th. And I invite all of you all to come and be a part of the Facebook group called BBE, the TAT, Buzz, B-U-Z-Z. So I look forward to seeing you there. Well, it's a new year, so let's finish up our Physician Query Part 2. So we're going to finish it, and like I said, I'm not giving you everything because you're going to have to do some work on your own. But I am giving you some tips on Physician Query. You know, I think the last one we talked about, what is a query? A query is you simply asking a question. We talk about when you should query. You know, you want to query when your information is cloudy, not clear, ambiguous. You're going to query. But today, I want to concentrate on one thing today. So we're going to query when we have a need to ask the physician a question. The one thing that I'm currently seeing out here in this real world is that we are causing physician fatigue. We're causing a physician query fatigue or death by query to the physician. We are asking these physicians all kinds of crazy questions. If you have been listening to my YouTube videos, you know I am a firm believer in that you must know when you need to query and when you don't. You must have put the time in to be able to do that critical thinking that you need to do. We should not be asking physicians questions where the answer is in the chart. See? So in fact, one of the things I want to talk about today is this little piece, and I'm coming out of the 2019 Physician Query Update. If you want to look this up, it's called Physician Query Update 2019. It was published by AHIMA in relationship with ACDIS, ACDIS. They published these rules for querying so that we could all get on the same page. Well, we know that's probably not working too well, but they put it out there for us to do that. And one of the things that it talks about in this query is that queries are not necessary for every discrepancy or unaddressed documentation issue. We should not be querying the physician when it's really something that's not that important. See, if a patient have a potassium, I think let's say the norm, I think maybe, I don't know, 5 or 4 or whatever. And your patient have a low potassium, or 2.2 or whatever. And the physician may note it and move on. You may not need to query for that. Was it addressed? Did it affect outcome? We have to look at those things. And I've been thinking a lot about this. Why is it that we are querying for every little thing that a physician writes? And I'm wondering, as you all can probably tell from my hair, I'm a little bit older than you all. And see, when I got into coding, coders were expected to think things through, and we could make some decision, I suppose, based on the documentation. So, it was like a case a friend of mine had. So the patient came in, they thought the patient had sepsis, they thought the patient had a UTI. But, and this patient had what they call a nephrostomy tube. I won't have time to go into that, but it's an artificial opening to the bladder to put the tube in and to drain the urine out. So they thought this patient had that. Well, come to find out, the physician says in the documentation that, he didn't actually say sepsis was ruled out. What he said was patient is not septic or something like that, or the patient didn't have a UTI. So why would you send a query and ask the physician if sepsis was ruled out? See, there's no need to query for that because he already told you in so many words. So be careful with that. I am convinced we are causing physician query fatigue and death by query to physician, because we are asking them about every little thing. I looked at a chart a while back, and they said the patient had subconjunctival bleeding, had hemorrhaging in his eyes. Well, the patient had been really sick, and they when they brought him in, they gave him some heparin and that type of thing. Now, so they want to know if this bleeding of the conjunctival was related to that patient getting a heparin. But guess what, people? His PTTs and his PTs wasn't increased. It wasn't up. It was a one-time. Why would you just code conjunctival hemorrhage and move on? Now, I know some of you all are probably not going to agree with that. Hey, so far in America, we still have freedom of speech. However, it's getting a little tight there. Not sure how long we're going to have it. But at the end of the day, we don't need to query physicians about every little discrepancy in that chart. You as a coder, you as a CDI person, that's your role to look at that chart and know something was ruled out or wasn't confirmed based on the documentation. Why does the physician have to tell you it was ruled out when he have told you it was ruled out in so many words? Anyway, I probably could go through some other things with documentation and the physician query process. But guess what? This is a new year, and what I'm going to do is I want you all to come to Be the Buzz and be a part of the group, and then you can get more information. But let me make sure I did. So the other thing, my videographer Danny always tell me to kind of keep it short and keep it long, but I gotta say this. If you are going to query, you must have clinical indicator that the condition exists. So, if a patient have congestive heart failure, for instance, don't ask the physician if it's systolic or diastolic, and you don't have any documentation to support either one of those. That's inappropriate query. That could be considered leading the physician. If you want that physician to give you a diagnosis of systolic or diastolic CHF, you must have some evidence that the patient had the condition of systolic or diastolic. Okay? So make sure you are not asking the physician to list a diagnosis that is not supported in the record. Be careful with that. You would never ask a physician if a patient have aspiration pneumonia and they're not aspirating. See, they're not swallowing improperly, or they didn't swallow it improperly. You know, they didn't aspirate anything. They didn't eat something that went down the wrong pipe and got into the lungs. So you would never do that. You would never ask a physician if the patient got MRSA pneumonia without some type of evidence in that chart that the patient have had some type of MRSA. So watch out for that, and study, and we'll have additional information about querying and some querying examples later on Be the Buzz. So I invite you all to come to Be the Buzz. Well, this is my first video for this year. We're going to end it with the physician query. I want to thank you all for sticking with me over the year. And guess what? This is Mary at masscodingsolutions.com. That's our website, masscodingsolutions.com. Currently, we're still on Facebook under masscodingsolutions.com. We are still on Twitter. And guess what? I have really started my Instagram account. So you'll see some things out there too on Instagram. I think it's MAS Coding. I have to get the address because that's pretty new to me. But you can find us. Just look up at MAS Coding and you'll find us on Instagram as well. Look forward to talking to you. Bye-bye.